Okay, guys, now we're at the challenging part of the Access database testing portion, okay? At this stage, okay, they ask you to, using the fields from both tables, produce a report which does all of the following. Well, don't forget, before you produce a report, you have to run a query off of which then you can produce a report. They don't tell you that in the test, but I told you that in preparation. So we will do this. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a query using the tables we've already imported. All right, so let's run through that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my database. Okay, so far I've created my tables right there. I've got my form. Now I'm going to create a query. So hit on the query wizard. All right, I'll use this simple query wizard. Okay, so at this point now, if I select this drop-down level, we can see we've got my two tables, and I'm going to need fields from both of these tables. All right, so let's go back and have a look at what my instructions say. So, contains a new field called bonus wage, which is calculated at runtime and displayed as currency. This field will calculate the wage plus 4%. Okay, for the year tens, I just wanted you to calculate wage plus 100. Okay, so we can't do that until we actually create the query. That's the last field. This bonus wage field is the last field we're going to create in our query. All right. We want to show the records where level is advanced or higher. Closing date is on before 31st of August. Subject name excludes accounting. Once again, I can only do these options once I have created my query in my design view. Okay, shows only the fields: vacancy, level, closing date, employer name, day release, wage, and bonus wage. Bonus wage, you're not going to find in either one of those tables because we are going to create that bonus wage once the query is done. Okay, all this other stuff we can actually do in the report. So let's start with this. Okay, shows only the fields: vacancy, level, closing date, employer name, day release, wage. Okay, so I'm going to import those files there. And in the order that I want, once again, that order is, have a look at it, the order is vacancy, level, closing date, employer name, day release, and wage. Okay, so I will do that. First thing I want is vacancy. Okay, I will select vacancy. Next thing I want is level. Okay, so I will select level. Next thing I want is closing date. So I will select closing date. The next thing I want is employer name. Okay, so I will select employer name. Next thing I want is day release. So I will select day release. Next thing I want is wage. So I will select wage. Okay. Now, what I will do is, because I will probably need fields from both these tables, I will import all of the rest of these fields from that table. Then I will select my other table, okay? And I will select and import all of the fields from that. Why do I do that if I only need to see those first couple of ones? Well, when I create a new field at runtime, when I create this bonus wage field at runtime, okay, I'm going to need some of those fields that they haven't asked to be visible. So it's best to just import everything. First import it in the order that they want it to appear, then import everything else. And we can make everything else invisible. Let me show you how we do that. Okay, so I've got everything that I need. I'm going to hit next. Yep, I want to see the detail of everything. Unless they say, hey, name it a certain appropriate name for the query, I'm just going to leave it at this name, okay? And I will hit finish. Okay, so there I have it. I've got all of my query records and fields. Okay, so don't want to see all of these things. So I will double click on the top tab here, and I'll go into design view. Okay, this shows me how the two tables are related. Okay, if I don't have this, I might have some problems trying to create this query, but everything looks good here. Okay, so once again, I want to see vacancy. I want to see level. I want to see closing date. I want to see employer name. I want to see day release, and I want to see wage. I do not want to see these other fields, okay? So I will uncheck these so that they will still appear when I work on a query, but they will actually be invisible, okay? So I'm just gonna uncheck these, okay? Okay, I'm gonna keep unchecking. I think yep, got one last one to do. Okay, so now, if I've done everything right, I should only see the fields that I want to see. Okay, so I'm going to save that. Okay, once again, every time I do something in a query, I like to hit run. That way, if I've made a mistake, I know where I've made the mistake and I can correct it. So I'm going to hit run, and there we go. So the fields again that I want to see, once again, are vacancy, level, closing date, employer name, day release, and wage. Bonus wage I'm going to create in a second. I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so I've got vacancy, I've got level, I've got closing date, I've got employer name, I've got day release, and I've got wage. So good. Step one of the query is done. I'm going to go back in Design View because now I'm going to create that new field, which is bonus wage. Okay, for the year 10s, the bonus wage was wage plus 4%. For the year 10s, for the year 11s, it was bonus wage plus 4%. For year 10s, it was just bonus wage was wage plus 100. So I'll show you how to do both of those. Okay, so in we go. I will now go to the last column that I have here, and I will type in I got to change my keyboard back. Bonus wage, okay? And I will put in a colon. That colon tells me that everything before that colon is going to be a heading of this column. Okay, so just like sector area is a heading of this column here, so will bonus wage, okay? Now, once I put in the colon there, those two little dots on top of each other, I'm going to double click on that cell right there, and I'm going to hit build. Okay, so I'm going to now build an expression, all right, a formula, if you will. And that formula is going to be, I'll do the year 10s one, it's going to be wage plus 10%. That's what you guys had for your test. So I can just click on wage, wage, wasn't 10%, sorry, it was 100 euros. Okay? Now, once I do that, you'll see this expression. Okay, I want to get rid of that. What that says is, hey, you're creating, once you clicked on wage, you're creating an expression. Well, my expression is also the title, the heading of this column. So I need to delete that expression. Okay, I need to delete everything that was in those little chevrons, that expression. That way, this will run. Okay, so if I hit OK, now I'm going to run it, and we're good. Okay, I've got my bonus wage. Okay, let me show you guys for the year 11s what your formula looked like. Okay, I'll go back into boom. So yours was wage, double click on wage, times, oops, 0.04. Okay, that should work, hopefully. Yep, and that's what your bonus wage was. Okay, you can see here, I have to modify this for 2 decimal places and also make it for currency, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Okay, if I were to do that, if I wanted to modify, oops, okay, if I wanted to modify for currency, click on properties, and I go into format right there, and I would select my currency. Okay, so I'll just save that as is. Okay, I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to change it back to the year 10. Year 10 values that we had for that thing. Okay, so Great, we're back there. Okay, so go back into Design View and see what else I need to do. Okay, so now I need to do these. I need to set some parameters for my query. Level is advanced or higher. So let's do that first. So I'm going to go back into my query, and down here, okay, in Design View, I'm going to look for level. Okay, there it is there. So level is advanced or higher. So I will put in okay, I just have to type it in like that. I'm going to run my query. And there we go. It just shows me all of my advanced or higher levels. Okay, and now if I go back into Design View, look what happens. All right, I just typed in advanced or higher, and Access, once I ran the query, because I knows that I'm doing a query, automatically put in these quotation marks and changed the OR to a capital O-R, okay? So I didn't have to do anything, all right? The other thing is, I know that I want to just remember that I have to do something with the, sorts the data into ascending order of level. Okay, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to arrange the ascending order for level right now. So I'm going to go in there, and on this field right there, I just click on that. You get that drop down, okay, ascending. And I'm going to run that again. Great. So I've got it all ordered now. Okay, go back into Design View. All right, my next thing that I want to do is, oh yes, closing date is on or before 31st August 18. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my database, my closing date. Closing date is less than or equals to 31. August 8. Okay, so I will hit the run. And great, I've got all of my closing dates organized. I'm just going to sort from oldest to newest just to make sure that, yep, everything's sorted. Great, in the way that I want it to be. Okay, I'm going to go back in Design View. Let's have a look at the other thing that I need to do. Okay, subject name excludes accounting. Okay, so I'm going to go back into my database. Okay, subject name. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so as you can see, subject name is invisible. In my instructions here, and when I'm building my query, it doesn't tell me that I need to see this visible. So that's why by default, I just put in everything and I check the ones that I want visible. And then I will uncheck the ones that I want invisible, which in this case is subject name. Okay, so go back to my database and where is it again? Subject name. Here we are. Subject name excludes accounting. So, in other words, I want everything that is not. That's all I have to do. I don't have to put in any type of format. Just type in not accounting, and I will hit the run. And there we go. Because that field's invisible, I'm not going to see it in here, but I don't get any errors. That tells me I've done something right. So I'm going to go back to design, and you can see Access has changed this to proper formatting for me. I didn't have to do it. I just ran the query, and it ran. Okay. Let me go back to my instructions. Okay, I think that's all I need for my query. I'm going to stop this video right now, and then I'm going to go in and actually run the report.